It's just little old me on the boat today. Andy and Jack at home, because Andy's working tonight and Jack's playing with his friends. So I've come to the boat to have a bit of a tidy up, ready for some more welding. We've got a welder in to do some work below the waterline, and they need to access some places. So currently it looks like a bomb has hit the place, because I've just pulled everything out of cupboards and stuff so we can get to everywhere. But my main reason for being here today is to paint the other side of the boat with primer. So I will just show you what it's looking like. We hate the colour, by the way. It wasn't quite the colour we were after. It is just primer, so it still needs flatting back, another coat, and then top coat. But the final colour won't be this shade. Yeah, so here she is. We're planning on a more of a deeper reddy burgundy colour, not this, I don't know how to describe it. It's a browny red, not quite the shade that we're after, but she looks night and day better than she did before. But my job today is to try and do this side. I'm just going to get set up to do that. Ooh. Try not to fall over things. It's been raining all morning, but the sun has come out and it's not due to rain again, so it's perfect for painting.
I know I said this last week, but I'm just going to ask you a huge favour again. You may or may not already be a member of the YouTube Sailing Channels group on Facebook, as I'm showing here. If you're not, I highly recommend joining it, as a lot of your favourite channels regularly post interesting stuff there. Anyway, they're running a poll to find the most loved YouTube sailing related channel, and I'm shamelessly asking you now to head over there and join the group and vote for us. We're only a little channel in the grand scheme of things, and we know these things don't actually count for much except for bragging rights, but it would really put a smile on our face if we won.
So I'm going to set up my paint station and then give the boat a quick wipe down, just make sure there's no dust and grime stuck on there. I'm hoping you can see me from there. Right, 150, let's see how quick I can do this. Rolling and tipping. There you go. 3 hours exactly, and not quite half a tin of paint. And there's another coat of primer on. Ta-da! I've only painted to here on this bit rather than coming down to the waterline, just because we're still working in this area.
So you will notice that in that previous clip there are some pretty huge patches which have been cut out and tacked in place. As you know, I've done a massive amount of welding on Melody myself, but we got a local welder, Danny, to come and help out for several reasons. Firstly, we're under some pretty tight time constraints to move Melody to her winter home. Secondly, Danny is a coded marine welder and fabricator, and this is his day job, welding boats. Danny can do this kind of work to a much higher standard and in a fraction of the time, which will satisfy our insurers and surveyors and also give us peace of mind when we do launch. I would like to say that Danny and his assistant Spud are the nicest couple of guys you could ever wish to meet. The standard of work is unbelievable. They work long days and work incredibly hard. It's always a worry when you employ a contractor by the hour that they're going to take the mick and not work too hard, and you'll end up with a big bill for a small amount of work. But that's the exact opposite was true in this case. Danny even phoned me up and said that there were a few bits of welding he had found which he could do for us, but I would be able to do myself, and he asked if I wanted them to leave those bits to save us some money. His communications were brilliant. He texted every morning while we were away, letting us know when he was arriving and starting work, sent updates as and when possible throughout the day, sent pictures and video clips of his work and issues encountered, and let us know when he was packing up for the day. Just brilliant and very reassuring. So I want to say right now that if you're anywhere in the UK and need the very best in welding and fabrication on your steel boat, then Danny is the man to get. Of course, if you want awesome stainless work doing for a solar arch or pretty stuff like that, then you go to Nigel, who's starting his YouTube channel next week. But for jobs like this, I can't recommend Danny highly enough.
The other reason we got Danny in is perhaps the most important reason, which is our own physical and mental health. As you know, I've quit my day job to homeschool Jack and work on the boat, so we're now living on Andy's salary and he still works full time. He fits boat work around his day job where he does very long shifts as a paramedic, and his last shift is always a night shift, which means he's exhausted the next day and needs to sleep. I do a lot of work on Melody, as you know, but there's limits to my skill set and I can't do the heavy welding and fabrication work. Recently the strain has taken its toll on us, both physically and mentally, and we reached a point where we just needed a quick break from the boat and simply get away sailing for a couple of days while we let Danny and Spud take the strain. And the fact that their communication was so good whilst working on Melody, it really made it possible to relax. So I want to say a big thank you to you, Danny and Spud, for that. Our time away was so much more relaxing. So we headed down to Dartmouth to meet up with Mike and Jane. I did my day skipper a little while back with Jane on their boat, so it was great to be back there.
Some really lovely comments on this week's video. Yeah, it's good. Nice. Thanks, Danny.
Just about the joint effort thing.
Yeah, about the team effort thing.
Yeah.
All hands on deck. Yeah, it was really good.
Taking off the spring line.
That's the way to do it.
Mike and Jane allowed us to stay in their gorgeous Beneteau the night we arrived and met us on the following morning as we set off early to head straight across the English Channel down to Guernsey in the Channel Islands. Motoring down the River Dart in the morning was just sublime, with hardly a breath of wind, although it was forecast to pick up a bit later on. Once we launch Melody, we will definitely be coming down here to explore the river and all the fascinating little places along its banks.
Alright.
Yeah. Do you want us? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good start to the day. It's a good omen. We got dolphins, that's a good omen.
The following Sunday morning was issued by the Guernsey Cultural Department S0811 UTC on 6th of August 2022. Northeasterly wind force 6 expected soon, especially in the southeast. This concludes the Maritime Safety Information broadcast. This is Guernsey Coastline.
You can feel the wind blowing through, so I don't really want to mess it up and try it.
So rather than continue welding the patches in the back, Danny turned his attention to the keel.
So basically, in here, I reckon this is very thin here. It might be alright, but other places might be really thin. So I was thinking 8mm plate all the way across the bottom, leave it overhanging an inch or whatever each side, tack them on all the way across, and then 100 by 6mm flat bar which will bend round nicely the shape of the boat, weld all that on, and then get the plasma afterwards and just run the plasma along there and then burn all the excess off nice and tidy all the way down to the right shape. If that makes sense.
You will notice it's now dark instead of daylight, and the reason for that I'll explain now. So as you heard, the weather picked up more than we originally thought. The girls on the YouTube channel Salty Lass, check them out, will agree with us, I'm sure, that when we say that conditions are always worse than they're predicted to be. So the Force 6 with moderate seas arrived, and in the world of sailing, moderate seas are just flipping uncomfortable. That makes for a fairly unpleasant experience, and we're not racing, we're here to enjoy ourselves. On top of which, I'd just come off a night shift and wasn't feeling 100% anyway, so the combination of being overtired and with the Force 6 and some swell made me as sick as a dog. I'm not ashamed to admit I get seasick from time to time. I think most people do, if they're honest, and there's a tiny number of people who genuinely don't. Anyway, we turned back and set out again the next morning in much calmer conditions.
No matter how often we go sailing, I'm always happy to see dolphins. They never fail to put a huge grin on my face. They seem so happy and playful, swimming and jumping in the bow wave. It's hard not to be taken up in their infectious enjoyment of life. Even so, long passages like these are tiring. I think it's just the sea air that makes me a bit sleepy, so it's always nice to leave on my mum and have a little nap.
Hello, Nels. Just packing up now. Got this done today. All that's welded there now. All that's ready for trimming. And then this side we've got to just there on the top, but we've got a bit further on the bottom. There's still a fair bit of welding to do. I thought we would have finished it today, but we tried. But after messing around with these ribs this morning, I slowed this down a bit. It's got one there, another one down there, and one that way, where the paint's been burnt. That's complete. And probably a couple of hours welding tomorrow. It's done the underneath as well. And the one further back, so we've still got them next to 3 underneath to do as well.
Back on our crossing from Dartmouth to Guernsey, we're just approaching the traffic separation scheme, so Jack is on the lookout for approaching vessels.
See, I'm going to test something.
Oh no, you're wet.
I was just testing the binoculars work very well. Doesn't matter. We're going to a place called Guernsey, and it's somewhere between England and France-ish. Yep, that's closer to France. There is an island called Guernsey near it. It's part of the Channel Islands, and I can now see it on the horizon.
No, it's tight. Jammer's shut. Yeah. There's a bit of money in that.
Yeah. So we're just arriving in Guernsey into St. Peter's Port. This is the entrance here. So we arrived in Guernsey yesterday after a great sail. We left about 4:30 in the morning, and we sailed across from Dartmouth to Guernsey, and it was absolutely beautiful. The weather was perfect, and had lots of dolphins with us a lot of the way. It was really lovely. It's absolutely packed in here, but it's an absolutely beautiful marina. I'll show you outside in a minute. And Andy's just gone off with a friend to get some diesel, and then we will be jumping on a ferry and going to a little place, a little island called Herm.
We are in Guernsey Marina.
Brilliant, and we've come here with Mike and Jane, St. Peter Port Marina. And in Guernsey, we sailed over yesterday, as you've just seen, and we're heading over on the ferry to Herm, which is a beautiful little island, and what an amazing place it is. It's hot, hot, hot. Not as hot as it was in Greece a few weeks ago,
yeah,
but it's
hot,
not.
And it's very busy here. We did well to get in.
We did, yeah. we got in just in time, and there's loads of other boats rafted up now, so we were lucky that we didn't end up sort of on the outside, we're on the inside, which is good. Yeah, this is very nice indeed.
Well, we've just arrived in Herm and it's absolutely beautiful. Look at this. You see Guernsey over there. Well, we're just walking down this really dusty path. The tractor just passed, and that's how they get their postage and packaging on this island. Like,
It comes over on the ferry, doesn't it, Jack?
yeah. Herm prison. Ah, come on. Is there anything in it? Very dark. Look at this. Wow. It's a Herm harbour crane. The crane was built by Bray Waddington Company of Leeds in circa 1850 and was operational by Herm Harbour until the 1990s.
So they were still using that in the 1990s?
Yeah. Look at that. Do not cross this field unless you can do it in 9 seconds, because the ball can do it in 10 seconds.
What this trip did confirm to us is that we can't wait to get stuck into this lifestyle. We're really looking forward to getting back here and spending more time exploring these stunning islands which seem almost Mediterranean to us. But this trip was especially special for me as I was meeting up with two of my dearest friends who had a huge impact on my life and whom I haven't seen for nearly 30 years. It's our last night in Guernsey, and I'm sentimentally excited because we're going to have some pizza and a meet up with some friends that I've not seen for 30 years. I mean literally 30 years. Last time I saw these people, I was living in Wales, believe it or not, but so were they. And yeah, two of my dearest, I would say oldest friends, but that sounds wrong, doesn't it? But two very, very dear friends.
Oh, it's nice to see you!
It's lovely to see you.
Oh my word! Oh, how fantastic! Fantastic!
It's
Hello,
just
Jack.
amazing, isn't it? Meet Jack after all of that. I'll take that.
And Melissa. Hello.
You said,
It's lovely to see you,
30 years,
Melissa.
isn't it?
It's 30 years.
30 years.
Hi there,
Yeah.
lovely to see you. And it's Danny.
Yeah,
I've been
hello.
learning this because
My name's Melissa Jane.
Yeah.
I can remember that.
There's another Jane.
Melissa Jane as well.
Yeah.
This is spooky.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Very weird.
After a lovely meal and a catch up with Mark and Melissa, we set off the following morning for our return trip to Dartmouth.
We really can't thank Mike and Jane enough for all the support they've given us from the beginning of this project. We've had some amazing bits and pieces off them for the boat, and now they've helped us with this incredible trip away. It really was so needed for our mental health and well-being. So thank you, Mike and Jane. This really did mean the world to us.
We're just coming back into Nos Marina.
I don't normally film stuff on my phone, as you know. We normally use the other camera. We've just been over to Abermenai, over there in the tender, to just kind of blast around and have a bit of a laugh, because it was 30 degrees and more today, and it was baking hot. And I'm back at work tomorrow. We got back from Guernsey yesterday, and having come over to Abermenai, we've come back and bumped into another YouTuber here. So have a look at this. This is Christine, the van, Country Van Life TV. This is Sky, and I believe here is Stephen. How you doing, Stephen? So this is Stephen, Country Van Life TV, another YouTuber. Give him a like, give him a thumbs up, and most importantly, give him a subscribe. Yeah, tell us about yourself, Steve.
Living out in the wild, van life, been doing it for about 16 months now, 17 months full time. It all started with my wife getting killed, so
Oh no.
doing this to sort my 47 years. When
Oh.
I died in Quebec.
Good grief.
Killed
Oh, I'm
in,
so sorry.
Somebody on the wrong side of the road in Norfolk.
Oh, it's awful. I didn't know that.
But this is keeping the demons away for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still there, but it really...
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And this life, you know, whether it's van life or boat life, you know, it's so good for your mental health.
It's the
apart from
mindset.
anything.
I really don't know why the country's, you know, like Wales is banning banners. You can't camp there. You can't camp. It's nothing better for mental health, is it?
No, not
In
at all.
Europe, you can camp anywhere. They're open arms, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
for this country, I mean, just think of the cost on national health, especially in the last 2 years of COVID.
Yeah. Get out in the countryside, get out on the sea. So that's Stephen, and if you want to know more about what he's doing and follow his adventures on Christine with Sky, the little pooch, give him a subscribe and a like and a thumbs up, and drop him a comment.
Cheers, that's brilliant, mate.
No worries.
Guys, look forward to seeing you.
Coming up next week, we return to see the incredible job done for us by Danny. But for now, thanks so much for sticking with us and watching. Please don't forget, if you're not subscribed, please click the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you can help our little channel grow and get more views. And as always, thanks to our amazing Patreon family for your support, along with anybody who's contributed via Coffee and PayPal. See you next week.